What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Vinny's Corner. We had a nice little week off. It's good to see everybody. Hopefully more folks will be chiming in. My guy Cove is back in action with me tonight. Let me just go ahead and get this shared on the socials, and we'll get going. All right. Hopefully everybody is tuned in. I know March Madness started. It's the first four. I'm not really too into that. I got the Knicks game on in the background, and we are getting cooked right now, unfortunately. So, these things happen, but it is what it is. Let's see here. Boom. Boom. JFK. All right. And we are live. We are live. You have selected what? Oh, what the fuck? Hold on. This thing's not even letting me send it. Give me a second here. I'm failing at this, guys. Apologies. Vince is having technical difficulties. Boom, boom, boom. All right. Let's get this shared live. And then we can get this show going here. Boom. All right. There we go. So, guys, as I was saying, welcome back to Vinny's Corner. It's good to have everybody. A lot to talk about. My guy, Cove, will be tapping in with me here in a minute. Screen looks like it's blacked out at the moment. Hopefully, everybody's doing well. It's that damn Yankees fan. Yo, listen, Keegan, FYI, baseball officially starts, in about 8 days or 9 days? I don't consider the Dodgers to start, even though it technically is. And we will have my man Keegan here that's tapping in on the show with us also. So, I look forward to that, my brother. Let me take this hat off so you can see my face. So, guys, a couple of things I want to touch on as usual. There's a big boxing weekend ahead. So I'm just going to kind of give you the quick rundown on it so everybody knows if you do want to chime in or tap in this weekend. George Kambosos is fighting again against a guy named Welly. Sky Nicholson is going to be defending her belt for the first time on that same card, so that should be a good one. The really good one this weekend is Fundora and Booker. Sebastian Fundora is always really exciting to watch. And then Pro Box has a card on Saturday, being headlined by Lester Martinez and Joshawn James. Pro Box cards are always official, so if you're not doing anything else, I would definitely check that out. They usually start off on their YouTube as well, so it's good to watch. And the Fundora Booker, that's going to be on Amazon Prime, and then I think it'll move to pay-per-view from that point. And I think there might be one more card on DAZN if you do have it this weekend. And then in addition to that, guys, my fight fans that are out there, we have another UFC card this weekend. Leon Edwards is back in action this weekend against Sean Brady. So that's UFC London. That's a real early start. I believe it starts at the early prelims kick off at 10 a.m. Eastern time on Saturday as well. So there's a bunch of fights going on this weekend. Definitely tap in if you're a fight fan. We'll talk a little bit about it next week. And for those that don't know, you probably have seen on the socials, maybe on mine, maybe on someone else's, but a huge announcement just happened, and it kind of leads me to the question I have before I move on from the combat sports today. A group called the TKO Group. The TKO Group is the group who owns WWE, who owns UFC as well. They just announced the TKO Group Boxing League is going to be coming. So Dana White's going to be heading that ship up with help from Turki Al-Sheikh, who's the big promoter in boxing right now. I'm just curious to know what people's thoughts are on it, if you like it. A lot of fans aren't into it because they feel like boxers are going to start getting paid like UFC fighters, and UFC fighters, for what they do, they really don't make a lot of money. And then that kind of brings me to the last question. For folks that are UFC fans out there, UFC fans, is UFC a sinking ship? Is it just in America, or I know hardcore jiu-jitsu fans, grapplers, people who are really into MMA still love UFC. But for the more casual fan, are you tuning in now that it's and I don't want to sound like I'm against the country or people or anything else, because I'm not, but a lot of people seem to be kind of phasing out of UFC because it's all Russian champions right now, right? Chama, the guy, Alex Pereira, just lost. basically just getting grappled up and kind of contained against the fence. Nothing really to be heard of it by Enclave last weekend. So now it's like mostly, at almost every weight class. Ilya Taporia is a different one, but you got, Marab, Dervishvili, I think he's pronounced it, Islam Makhachev. You've got Enclave. It's just becoming more and more fighters that are from that part of the world, from Dagestan, from Russia. And a lot of people don't seem to think these guys are exciting. I love to watch it, but I'd be really interested to hear what people say. So Keegan just tapped in here. He said there are 3 solid fights. Jan Blachowicz he's fighting on the Leon Edwards card. Kevin Holland's on there too. And Kevin Holland's always an exciting fight, so that should be a good one to watch. But I'm just curious, guys, does anyone else think UFC is kind of a sinking ship lately? Like, why else is Dana White so ready to jump into boxing if UFC is doing what it's supposed to be? Now, I know that ESPN Plus has kind of had a big problem with them recently because they're not doing the pay-per-view numbers that were anticipated for UFC. I'm just curious to see what people's thoughts are on that. If you're a fight fan, if you're into combat sports, definitely tap in. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear about it. And last piece, I'm working on trying to get a couple of interviews here in the coming weeks, 1 or 2 MMA fighters and a couple of boxing guys. We'll see what happens. I've got at least one old timer that wants to come on the show, a former heavyweight champ, which could be a cool one. And that'll be on the podcast specifically. That won't be live. That'll be taped, and that'll be on YouTube for later viewing, and then on Apple and Spotify. That being said, my man Cove, what's going on, brother? It's been a couple of weeks. How are you?
Pretty good. I
can't hear you.
Can you not hear me now?
There you go. There you are. Yeah, now I can hear you loud and clear. So everything's good with you?
Oh, yeah. No, solid.
So I know a lot of folks are kind of interested in it. I do see something here from Keegan about the Cubs that didn't take the game seriously. So you want to take us into the baseball side of things? It looks like the Dodgers won the Tokyo series. I know that much, and I know
they both won. They won both games. Yes, that's what ended up happening there.
Okay, so here's the question for you, right? The Tokyo series starts 10 days before regular USA on our soil opening day, which like for me growing up, that was like a holiday. We used to cut school to go to Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, it is. But now that they've had the international series now, they've done it last year, they're doing it this year. It's
been 10 years, they say.
Yeah. No, I'm saying it's been very popular the last 2 years of having having the season being opened 10 days beforehand. Because a couple years ago, it was only the day before. Like, it was on the 24th or 25th, and the season opened on the 27th. So, this is the first time, the last few years, they've done it a few days, a week beforehand. They did Korea last year, Japan this year. So it just depends on where they are as to how they relevate to the series. Because sometimes they have done it on the day before, 2 days before the opening season. So,
but you're a big baseball guy. So in your mind, was yesterday opening day, or is opening day next week?
Well, to be fair, I get it. I get what you mean by that, because right now, there is multiple other games playing right now that don't matter because they're just spring training games, while there's real games being counted. So, I think it should be if it always starts on the 27th and you're going to have the international series, I think the 24th and 25th or 25th, 26th should be this, and then opening day weekend. Not having
there's no spring training in between. Yeah. Okay, so let me give you an example, right? Let's imagine the NFL had a game that counted towards the regular season during week 2 of preseason, right? People would be like, WTF, what is going on, right? So I understand, and I asked the question yesterday, and a lot of people chimed in, and a lot of people said, no, this is not opening day. Opening day is Sunday night, et cetera, et cetera. So, I feel like there's a lot of people out there that are still hesitant to taking this on as like this is opening day. Unless, of course,
it's
you're a
opening
Dodgers
day
fan
for the fans, the Cub fans and the Dodger fans. This is opening day because this is your first 2 games of the season. It is, but I don't like it because every team that has to play for this international series every year, they have to be ready a whole week before everybody else has to be ready. Like they had to have their roster ready, and while everybody else had a different date to have their roster ready.
Okay.
So it's not the same.
And so what I'm seeing here is that Shota got taken out after 4 no-hit innings, right? So, I mean, is that really trying to win a game? I don't know. I mean, it seems a little strange to me, right? Like they're in it, but they're not, You're frozen there. There you go. So, what do people think, right? Like anyone else that's listening out there, for you as a baseball fan, was this opening baseball day? Like, was this opening day for you? Or like, I'm just asking like any fans that are out there, what their thoughts are on it. Tap in, guys, on the socials, on Facebook, on YouTube, on X. You can definitely let us know. But like, okay, so for instance, right? So you root for the White Sox and the Yankees. So in your mind, next week is opening day.
Yeah, next week. 100% next week is me.
I feel like opening day has to be on American soil.
Yeah. Kind of, yes. Well, no, to me is when everybody's roster has to be set at the same time, and then that's opening day to me. When everybody's got the same roster ready.
Okay, I can see why you say that. Yeah, so that makes total sense. So, like, I guess pretty much outside of the 2 teams that are playing, everyone else is like, like the Dodgers.
I think everybody has their roster set, but this could be you have up until like the 24th, so you still have 5 more days and 3 to 4 more games to develop your team before opening day. Somebody could break out the next couple days and make a roster spot.
So, okay, now kind of moving along, but still talking about baseball here, right? I haven't really watched much spring training. I'll be honest. I've been a little down about all the injuries that we're seeing on the Yankees. I mean, we already lost Jared Cole for the season, right? Tommy John surgery. I don't know what that's going to, what's going to happen there. Gil. It's starting to pile on for us. They've still done pretty well against the Phillies. I did see that. But again, it's only spring training. But,
yeah.
Are there any teams that you've seen so far in the first, week or 2 of spring training that you've been like, okay, this team looks awesome? Like, is there anyone that's got you excited right now?
Nobody really. Like, because it's like everybody plays 50-50 because some of these games are split squad. Some of these they're playing international teams. They're not always playing a full MLB team. So it's not really exciting to me. These are just practice games to me.
That's totally fair. And have there been any like major, okay, so obviously I know about the Yankees, but have there been any other major injuries that we should be looking at that are going to affect teams to start this season for other teams?
Not that I have heard. There's a lot of delays. There's some people that have had injuries that they thought they might have come back by spring, but they're not quite there yet. Or some guys who just sat out spring training because they have a guaranteed spot.
Okay. So let me see. What do we? Oh, this is interesting. I didn't even know this because, again, I wasn't really tapped into it. But Nick Horner, Freddie Freeman, and Mookie Betts were all out during the series. Yeah, that's kind of wild. I mean, I get it. Like the Japanese market, the Asian markets as a whole, right? Last year was Korea. This year is Japan. They're big markets, so I can totally understand why people would be kind of but why it's important to the league, right? Obviously, for the league, it makes a big difference.
It's all about sales to them, really.
And, these markets are so big. It's one of those things where it's like, how can you not? Let me see. Sorry, I was just looking to see if I wanted to. So a lot of you guys that follow me, that sometimes I do guest spots with my buddy, and they do guest spots here from the sports podium, my buddy Austin and my buddy Hot Take. So obviously I did want to just give them a quick shout out in between things. And I wanted to shout out my boy Carlos's show too, but I don't know the name of the show. So I'm trying to see what it is right now. But Carlos is very much into the wrestling side of things. So I did want to just give a quick shout out to him. He does a couple of shows weekly, like Spaces on X. So definitely check him out. His handle on X is at C to the Los, CTO, the THELOS 77. Definitely check him out. If I get the name of the show here in a little bit, I'll definitely make sure I shout it out properly. But those are a couple of the shows that I tap into each week because I'm into WWE wrestling, and it's almost WrestleMania time. It's getting intense. John Cena's a heel now. So, pretty big stuff going on that side of the world. Have you been watching any of that stuff?
I watched the last main event. Like, I lost the last one. But I don't watch the shows religiously. So what's going on, I don't know until I see the main events.
Well, so what happened to me, right? As a kid, I grew up watching wrestling, right?
Like, I used to watch Monday Night Raw and Thursday Night SmackDown. I used to be all into it. But now it's just, adulting, right? I just don't have the time to watch the male soap opera. Well,
see, this is how they got me, right? So I have two of the streaming services I have are Peacock and Netflix. All the premium events, like all the pay-per-view stuff, is on Peacock. I watched one with my wife. She got a kick out of it, and now I watch all of them. And then when they opened up the Netflix Monday Night Raw, I started getting into Monday Night Raw. Like, I come home for dinner, and I put Raw on in the background, and I get a kick out of it. It's fun. It's definitely fun to watch. But again, my buddy has a good show on that. They kind of do like a weekly recap. I think they have one show for AEW wrestling, and then they have another one for Monday Night Raw. So like one's on Monday night evenings, and then the other one is on Wednesday night, I think, around the same time as this show. So if you're going to tune in here. But, try and show them some love as well. It'd be cool. I just wanted to kind of throw that out, guys. And like I said, check out my boys, Hot Take and Austin on the Sports Podium. And I think you can get them on all major podcast outlets. And I think there's a special guest on their show this week. So that could be fun too. I know you'll like it because it has to do with hockey. So definitely check them out. And that, that's kind of a perfect place to jump into the next thing, hockey. It's almost that time of year, right? 82 games are almost down, right? We're moving along nicely. How many games we got left in the season?
Let me see. Do math on 30, 50, 60. We're about 63 now, so we still got like 20 games left.
Okay. And how far off is our man Ovechkin from the goal?
Still 8.
Still 8. So 8 off. Okay, here we go. I got the NHL stuff up now. By the way, for my NHL fans, the Avalanche are down 1-2 to the Maple Leafs at the moment. So Ovechkin is 8 goals out from tying it or from breaking it?
Breaking it.
So, okay, that's pretty.
7th on Saturday.
Okay, yeah, they're 60 games in, so they have what, 22 games left.
Yeah.
Wow, I mean, I would be shocked at this point in the season if he didn't break it. I feel like he should break it and do it. Yes, okay, so he should be pretty.
But he was playing Philly last week, and he got 3 assists. He wasn't even trying to score. He just takes a shot when he takes a shot. Like, he's just being a team player right now. He's like, his coach had said that he's very humble with his record, that he wants to break it, but he's not trying to break it. Like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen this season, he'll go next year. He's only 39. So,
well, listen, I mean, they're like the number 2 team in hockey right now?
I thought they were number 1.
They have 45. You know what? They have less. Yeah. They only have 15 losses. The Jets have 47 wins, but they have 18 losses.
Yeah. There's more time. Yeah. So they're a few games behind the Jets right now.
In wins, but they have less losses, so they're looking all right. So right now our top teams are the Florida Panthers, as we'd kind of expect, right? The defending champs, the Washington Capitals, the Jets, and hanging on, but not by a lot, are the Golden Knights. The Golden Knights actually have less wins than the Oilers. They're 39-40, but they also have less losses, so they're still in first place at the moment. But it's been kind of an interesting season so far. No question about that, right? The Blackhawks are still winning. Yo, I love when people say stuff like this. Keegan, you are the best. The Blackhawks are still winning it all. But it's been a pretty exciting season so far. There's about 20 games left. So we're going to start seeing what really happens, right, in this next couple of weeks, like what seeds people get for the Stanley Cup Finals, for the playoffs, which is pretty awesome. I'm excited about it. Has there been any like big takeaways for you this last couple of weeks in hockey?
No, I'm more or less waiting for playoffs.
Okay. And who do you think wins it all?
There was a few trades that really
Let's talk about it.
I mean, the biggest one the only one that I think shocked me, or it shocked a lot of people, was Brad Marchand being shipped to Florida.
That I didn't even know that, so I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the transactions right now. The one that was kind of big to me was what's this guy's name? How do you pronounce his name? Rockman? Miko from Colorado. Colorado sending him to Dallas of all places was kind of.
No, he was in Carolina. He was traded to Carolina a while ago.
Oh, see, I'm so far behind.
Yeah, he was in Carolina, and he rejected an extension with Carolina, so they just traded him to Dallas because Dallas was going to sign him.
Okay. There you go.
I think you're confused because I said because I was saying in the chat before, I was like, why did Miko not go back to Colorado? But he just didn't go back.
Would have been a good thing. What the fuck is happening to the Knicks? Oh, what do we got going on? Hold on. Let me look at this Knicks game real quick. I think we're getting cooked is what's happening. So as you guys know, probably, to switch gears a little bit, it's NBA. NBA is really, it's almost that time for the NBA, right? The playoffs are almost here. Pulling up the standings right now. So in the NBA,
to be fair, for hockey, it's between 66 and 70 games have been played by most teams.
Okay.
So some have 12 to 15 games left on average for most teams.
So they're right around the same place, right? Because usually the NHL finals and the NBA finals, they kind of they move in. They're like I'm missing the word right now, but they go around the same time, right?
Yeah, they're pretty synced up because of the fact that their season ends around the same time at 82 games, and then their playoffs are all about the same each. And you got some of them that sweep the first round and some that go long, so it just depends. And then what ends up happening is the scheduling between the NBA and NHL, because MLB is going, but what they do is NBA will go one night and the NHL will go on the other night. They don't try to cross over against each other on competing nights.
So here's a question for you, right? After the movement, the trade deadline's obviously passed, 12 to 15 games left in the NHL season. If you had to pick the final four, right? So the last two teams in the East, the last two teams in the West, who do you think that those four teams are going to be?
In the final four for the West?
The last two teams standing in the West, the last two teams standing in the East.
The final four, the Frozen Four, as they call it.
The Frozen, yeah.
The NCAA reference is the Frozen Four. I mean, the Jets have surprised me this year, but they've been holding as much as they can. It just depends on who the Jets play. because certain teams that just play against playoffs, they can do really well and they can do really bad against. But this Jets team seems to be this is the best Jets team I've seen in 20 years. So it's completely surprising to me. So I mean the long shot in the West is the Jets being representative of the West. But I mean Edmonton and Golden Knights are like neck to neck in points. But the Jets are like 14 points above everybody else right now. And the next best team is Dallas.
Okay, so last two teams in the West, the Jets and who?
So it depends on I think it's gonna be Dallas and Vegas. But my long shot is going to be the Kings making it in there. This is my long shot.
Okay, that's definitely
Dallas and Vegas have the best chance to represent for the Western Conference Finals.
That's my pick for the West is Dallas against the Golden Knights in that semifinal or in the Frozen Four, I guess, right? We're calling it. And now, what do you think about the East?
The East is what I think everybody has been thinking. This is going to be Florida versus the Capitals. I don't see the Capitals are not slowing down at all. So they're gonna make their case to be in the finals if they don't. But here's the thing: history has repeated itself. You can win 62 games and still get knocked out in the first round. Detroit's had it happen. Tampa's had it happen. Boston's had it happen. Historically, every team outside of Montreal, a team who has won 55, 60 games, have never went on. So, like, I don't know if you really chase that record.
So we're pretty much the same. I got that's my four: the Capitals, the Panthers, the Vegas Golden Knights. I don't know if you saw the picture I posted the other day, but I got my daughter a little Golden Knights sweatshirt. She's got all her little Golden Knights onesies. She's a future Golden Knights fanatic, and then the Stars. So I completely agree with you on that. Honestly, I think that the Capitals might win it all.
Mm-hmm. My sneaky pick is the Hurricanes in the East.
So the question here, are the Blue Jackets in the playoffs? So Keegan wanted to know if the Blue Jackets were going to make the playoffs. Now, I think that's a hard no.
They are 7 points out of wild card right now.
Yeah, so they would need to. So Keegan, to answer the question, they would have to basically win. Around the next somewhere in the next 10 games, maybe better. So most likely they're not, right? Yeah. Most likely they are not. That's the reality of it for that team. But it's been a good season so far. It has been an exciting season, no question about that.
But here's the surprise for you: the Montreal Canadiens have the 8th spot over the Rangers.
Dude, the Rangers don't make it in, and the Habs do. I guess for me, I don't feel bad about that. Like, the Rangers have just not. They have not been the team that we expected them to be this season at all.
No.
That's the easiest way to say it. They've been
these
very
guys to be top 3 in their division, and they're not even.
Like this has been a pretty off season for Shesterkin. No question about that. And the team is just, as a whole, really is not playing at the level that I think anybody expected them to. So, all right. So, question for you now. NHL, we got through the NHL stuff. It's March Madness time of year, right? The first 4 here. I just want to say really quick before I jump into this, I was extremely disappointed. I did feel like WVU got snubbed. But I'm also a WVU graduate, so that pissed me off. That being said, the governor coming out and saying he was going to have the attorney general investigate and all this other stuff, like, go ahead. That was a little extreme. But UNC was the team that was picked rather than, say, WVU. There were a few teams that could say they were snubbed. But UNC showed up last night. They had an unbelievable game. I mean, they played San Diego State. but they won by like 40 points or something. So Ohio State should not have been. Keegan, you're out of your mind. Ohio State sucked this year. Anyone who's an Ohio State fan, you know that. I know that. There's no reason Ohio State should have made the dance. But I'll share my Final Four for this year. My Final Four is Michigan State, St. John's. St. John's has a huge task ahead of them. First time they won the Big East in 25 years was this year. But to make it out of their bracket, I almost said conference. To make it out of their bracket, they have to go through probably the best team out right now, the Florida Gators. So it may not happen. Oregon's definitely not winning it all. Keegan, you're wilding. Oregon's going to lose their first game. They might win their first one, but Oregon is not that team, not the team they should be. But that's my squad is Michigan State versus St. John's, and then Duke versus Houston. I think that it becomes St. John's against Duke. That's what I'm picking. Guys, I don't know if anybody's listening out there, but it looks like there's a few people on. Definitely let me know what your thoughts are on that. If your team made it in, if they didn't, what happened? And I'll leave you guys with this little piece for that West Virginia thing I was talking about. Not only did West Virginia, right? So the way that Division I breaks out, they have like quads of like the best team, right? So quad 1 is the top 75 teams in the country, give or take, right? UNC won 1 out of 12 games against quad 1 teams this season. West Virginia won 6 quad 1 games this season. But they still got bumped out. They were snubbed, whatever else, however we want to call it. Then what happens the next day, the coach of West Virginia announces that he's leaving the school and he's going to the University of Indiana. You know where Bobby Knight used to coach? Like, what a kick in the butt that was. So kind of a crazy situation for my school. It happens to the best of us. I'm a New York guy, so I'm fully behind St. John's. Do you do college basketball at all, Cove?
No, I haven't done it for years.
What turned you off from it?
I don't know. I just stopped liking it. When I was a teenager, March Madness was a big thing right until my early 20s, and then I just stopped watching it. Just not sure why. I mean, I am Canadian, so it's like March Madness is just not as thrilling to me as it would be for a lot of Americans. I
thought that Canadians love basketball just like Americans. You know, you guys got teams up there and everything. Well, Toronto.
Yeah.
Right?
Toronto. Yeah.
The Raptors aren't the best, but listen. Oh, that's funny. Keegan said he's sending me a bracket on Twitter because he wants to know what my reaction is. So let me take a quick look at that. And then we can jump into NBA. So, and I'm pretty excited about the NBA, actually. I'm not, it's been way different than I expected. Okay, so listen, I'll tell you what, Keegan, these aren't the craziest picks that I've ever seen, but Oregon and Indiana, there's no way Oregon, okay. First of all, you think Baylor is going to knock Duke out in the first round? I'm sorry, not the first round, in the second round? You're wild for that. And there's just – Duke really is a good team. So Keegan sent me his, and he's got Auburn against Florida. Auburn against Florida is not bad. That's something you could definitely see. Florida's the strongest team out there. Florida really beats up on people. I wouldn't be surprised if they won it all. I just don't, I don't personally, not that I don't think they will, but I believe in St. John's, and I think St. John's can come out of that bracket. So we will see. But St. John's has a tough task ahead of them because they have to start out. They have to, they're going to have to get through teams like Kansas. So they'll have Kansas. They might have to get through Missouri. Like Florida. That's a tough bracket that they got there. There's a lot of really good teams there. Memphis is in there. So I don't know. And Indiana, no way. Indiana's not that team. I don't know what's going on there, but no way. Oh no, that's not Indiana. That's Illinois. Excuse me. Illinois is like a 6 seed. They're not terrible team by any means, but I would be very shocked if we saw Illinois get past the second round. If they go into the second round, they'll likely have to match up against a team like Kentucky or possibly Tennessee. I just don't know. I don't know how I would see that going for them. So Big Ten is SEC is by far the best conference in basketball this season. The win-loss ratio for the whole conference was absurd. It wasn't even close. So it's definitely SEC is the side to beat. And with teams like Auburn, Alabama's really good. They're in there. And then, of course, Florida, again, it's going to be a tough one. So we'll see what happens. But that takes me to my favorite part of the day, the NBA. It's that time of year. Now, a lot of you guys know the one tonight. So my man Carlos, the one I was telling you guys about before I jump into the NBA, C to the Los 77. That's his X handle. The show he hosts tonight is Wednesday Night Chaos. I believe that's on the AEW. And then the Monday night show is directly after Monday Night Raw. So you can catch those on X. They're great shows. And the guys that are on there, besides him that host it or that participate each week, like they know all their stuff when it comes to professional wrestling. So definitely a really cool one. Make sure you check that out. That's my guy, Carlos. He is the GOAT of X, as I like to say. So the NBA, where do we stand with the NBA? I'm going to pull up the power rankings. This is per the NBA this week. Going into this week on Monday, the power rankings, Cleveland and OKC are the top two. So Cleveland is number 1, 56-11. OKC is 56-12, just right behind them. OKC has looked mean too. They've really been beating teams up. Then you got Boston, the incumbent champ, at number 3. And then kind of an interesting one, 2 big trades and 2 big moves that happened before the trade deadline kind of really changed the course of this NBA season. So the Golden State Warriors and the Los Angeles Lakers kind of rounded out. That's the top 5 in the power rankings for this week per the NBA. I can't really argue with that. Now, Golden State did just make themselves look pretty bad. They lost to the Nuggets last night, and they were on like a 7-game winning streak, I believe. They lost to the Nuggets, and the Nuggets didn't have Jokic, and they also didn't have Jamal Murray, right? So the top of the, and Braun was out too. So their top 3 players were out, but Russell Westbrook ran a triple-double, and he had all the energy out there, and they were able to sneak past the Golden State Warriors. So I wouldn't be surprised. These are the top 5 teams, but I still wouldn't be surprised if you saw a team like the Denver Nuggets end up in the finals. It's going to be interesting to see, though. The Warriors, you're wilding, Keegan. So since the Warriors have gotten Jimmy Butler, and in games Jimmy Butler's played, they're like 12-1. They've been phenomenal with him. Really what they need from that team, right? So, and this is like a big ask because they don't get it a lot there. They got a great defender, or they had a great defender in Draymond Green. They need a guy like Draymond to be hitting big shots when they're in the playoffs if they're going to make it out of the West. The West is heavy. The West has the Lakers with LeBron and Luka. OKC led by probably the favorite for the MVP award. Some people are saying it should maybe be a co-MVP, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA. I'll just say it that way easier for me, right? And then, of course, again, you got the Nuggets and Joker. Jokic is averaging a triple-double this season. But what I wanted to talk about is how good the Lakers have become since Luka Doncic has gotten traded to that team. It's like it breathed a new breath of fresh air in them. And it almost seems like the team that wasn't playing defense, now that they lost AD, Anthony Davis, that is, for those that don't know, who that was like their best defender, it's almost like the rest of the team, everyone from Austin Reeves has stepped up in a big way. Hachimura has been great. Rui Hachimura has been great for them. LeBron is LeBron. You can never discount LeBron when he's on the court. And then, of course, Luka has just been nasty. He's been playing incredible ball. He's averaging over 30 points a game. in March. So he's doing like, he's back to himself, so it's been really exciting to watch, actually. Now I'm a Knicks fan, so you guys don't see me talking about a lot about the Knicks. That's very simply because, I'm sorry. Hold on. I just want to answer this here. So the Cavs went on a 16-game winning streak and are still getting bopped out by the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. You may be right, but they are really a complete team. So, like, anyone discounting that team at this point, if you watch their ball movement, everyone is shooting. Everyone can shoot from the perimeter at this point, whether it's Mobley, whether it's Garland, whether it's Mitchell. It doesn't really matter. They have a lot of movement. They have a lot of scorers. They have a bench. That team is built to win. I would not be surprised if they made the finals. But with that being said, they probably are going to have to go through the Celtics. And, okay, so the other night, recently, right, the Celtics had a game where it wasn't Jaylen Brown, it wasn't Jason Tatum, but Pritchard and White both stepped up, and each guy scored over 40 points in that game. So these aren't even their stars. Not even their stars. Other guys on the team are stepping up and dropping 40 bombs to win games. So when they come in, obviously them being the champs, I personally still think the Celtics are going to come out of the East. Now, as I was saying to you guys about my Knicks, you probably saw Jalen Brunson get hurt recently. DeAndre Hunter's been great for the Cavs. That's a fact. You're absolutely right about that, Keegan. Now, Cove, I know you don't follow NBA heavy. So my guy Cove here, for you guys that don't know, and you could probably tell from when he does talk a lot and not, he's a big MLB and NHL guy. That's like his things, where I'm like sports. Like, as much as I can watch, I want to take it in. And because I have a 10-month-old daughter, I'm on my couch a lot. So I watch a lot of sports. But my Knicks right now feel like a team. He said that you're a Wizards fan. That's hilarious. But my Knicks team, it's the kind of team that's built like we had a great bench game the other night, right? We got Mitchell Robinson back. The bench scored like in our win against Golden State, we had like over 30 points from the Knicks, which is pretty serious. The Knicks are not built right because we only have so much depth, which is very, very minimal. And basically all of our good players are on the court for 40-plus minutes a game. So that wears you out, right? And we see it when these guys get injured, when they roll their ankle, when they get hurt. Brunson got hurt in an overtime game. But I just don't know if I see us getting out of like the second round. I do think we'll get the first round win, but it depends. It depends on where the chips fall. Right now, it looks like we may have the Pistons in the first round if the season plays out the way that everyone's positioned right now. We're still a third seed at the moment. The Bucks are doing good, but they're not great. So there's a lot to be said for that. Out of the West, I'll be honest. The West has OKC, and everyone's like, OKC's going to win. I don't think they're gonna. I don't think the West is going to have the Lakers, the Warriors, and the Nuggets. Now, they're not the best teams in the league right now, but they're all good teams, and they're all champions. So I'm just not sure that I'm ready to concede that OKC is who's going to come out of the West. I'd love to hear from people on that. Let me know what you guys think. Is OKC the truth? I mean, they've been doing it all season. Shai's looked amazing. The Knicks really look stupid for letting go of our guy, Isaiah Hartenstein. He is playing awesome this season. So, and then Chet, they got Chet as well. They have a lot of good players on that team. The bench scores for them, and they play defense. That's really why I like SGA, to be honest. They play a lot of defense, and he's really good at it. You don't see a lot of guys in this day and age who are that good playing heavy defense. So, it's been kind of a cool thing to see for sure this season. But if I had to guess right now, or you know what, let me not say if I had to guess, but what I'd like to see, I would like to see like a classic NBA final, and I would like to see the Lakers against the Celtics. I think that would be awesome. But we'll see what happens. We'll see if everybody's healthy. we'll see what's going on with that. It's kind of tough to say, so I'm not really sure at this point. But that's what I would like to see out of it at least. So, guys, we still got a little bit of time here. And we haven't talked any NFL, right? That's a must do, right? We always got to talk about NFL. So I'm going to just jump on to the biggest trade or not biggest trade, but the biggest move that just happened in free agency. Jamar Chase and not just Jamar Chase, but Jamar Chase and T. Higgins both signed for deals worth over $100 million, right? So they will be staying. So Joe Burrow has petitioned for those guys. He loves them. He wanted to keep them and Hendrickson, the defense. Hendrickson's awesome. He hasn't gotten the deal yet. He's probably going to end up staying there also, though, because he's been kind of out there looking for a trade move for the last couple of weeks, but it doesn't look like teams are willing to both pay him and give the Bengals what they want. So have you been paying attention to the NFL free agency at all, Cove?
Somewhat. I catch it when the major stuff comes out, right?
What do you think? The Bengals, right? So Joe Burrow came out. He publicly petitioned, right, across media as to why he needed his guys, how they could do it. He made it happen. He's got 2 wide receiver ones, right? He's got T. Higgins, who's outlandish. T. Higgins is like a power forward playing football. And then he's got Jamar Chase, the best receiver in the NFL last year, right? Yeah. So now that he's got his guys, if the Bengals don't make the moves they need with the rest of free agency and that defense doesn't get built up, because realistically, when you commit that much money to 2 players, it makes it a lot tougher to build up other parts of your team. Mm. Is Joe Burrow out of excuses? Like, does this team have to win? Like, what does it look like next year if the Bengals don't make the playoffs for a 3rd year in a row? They've actually missed the playoffs more times than they've made it with Joe Burrow. Just a little fact. But he hasn't been completely healthy the whole time. So, I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, when you get those 2 caliber players, you're kind of hoping playoffs, but I mean, nothing's guaranteed in life that, just to say it like a lot of people thought KC was going for a 3-peat and didn't happen.
Well, so, right. Okay. Like, look at it like this. T. Higgins and Jamar Chase both got 4-year deals. It's over $200 million. It's $161.5 million and like $120 million or something to that effect over 4 years. One's making $30 a year. One's making $40 a year. So they've committed $70 million of the cap to 2 players when they already have Joe Burrow's contract, which I understand he's willing to restructure, blah, 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 et cetera. But 3 players over $100 million. The cap this year is $280 million, give or take, right? So you're committing 35%, give or take, of your entire, or maybe 40% almost, of your entire cap to 3 players, right? Now, offense and defense alone, you've got 22 guys. Their defense was like the 26th or 27th defense in the league this season, and they haven't made any moves. They haven't made any headway. The sack leader in football is on their team and looking for a deal, and they haven't been able to meet with him yet. Not that they haven't met with him, but they haven't been able to get to eye on what the numbers should look like, right? So, for me, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be more of the same for that team, but I feel like they're out of excuses now, right? You went out and you petitioned for this. Now you got it. What's going to happen now if you don't make the playoffs, if you don't make a deep run in the playoffs too? I don't know. I think it was a bad move on Joe Burrow's behalf. The idea is supposed to be that you have one great receiver. They should have let T. Higgins walk, not walk, but they should have traded him. They should have brought in some capital for that. So a couple of things here. Bengals are going to miss 9-8 again, missing the playoffs. I would not be surprised by that, and I would love it, actually. That would be kind of great. And then, so a couple of big moves in like the quarterback world, right? It turns out, so Minnesota came out today and said that they're moving on from the Aaron Rodgers conversation.
Yeah.
AJ McCarthy is their guy. That's their focus. So now Aaron Rodgers is down to the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New York Giants. Unfortunately for me as a Giants fan, I think this means he's going to become a Giant, which hopefully awful for Arch, right?
Yeah.
We tank this season and then we get Arch Manning in the next draft. That's the idea there. But I don't know, like, could you see this guy going to the Steelers? Like, I feel like with a guy like Mike Tomlin, and actually Cam Hayward came out, and Cam Hayward was like, listen, either you're a Steeler or you're not. Like, make a decision. Like, they're not feeling the whole vibe of like Aaron Rodgers needs to go to a dark place and like he needs weeks and weeks, months, if he, right? Even a couple of months to make the decisions. You hear my daughter in the background? Hey, say daddy again. Dada. Oh, now you're not going to say it. That's messed up, man. The whole camera was ready for you, but now you don't want to say it. All right. But I just don't see a guy like Rodgers fitting in or being able to deal with the mentalities of Steeler football. So it leads me to believe that he becomes a Giant, which I really hope not. But, you know, we're going to see what happens.
Might go after Cam. Well, who would you rather have as a Giant fan? You want Cam Ward or you want Shador?
So this is an interesting one. I think that Cam Ward is going to be awesome. I think he's a really good quarterback, and I think that he's going to be ready to kind of take charge of a locker room. But so a lot of people are kind of like saying Shador's going to fall. He's going to go back, this and that in the draft. I think Shador is going to be really good too. He's got a huge football IQ. He completed over 70 passes or over 70% of his passes this season. Something like 74.5% of his passes this season, which is ridiculous. And he's already a star. So,
yes,
like he'll be able to handle New York.
But I'll give you this. I'll drop you the name. Kellen Moore, winningest quarterback in college history. And where's he now? He's the head coach for New Orleans.
You know, yeah, actually, I don't know who knows the answer to this question, and I'm going to look it up myself afterwards now that you brought up New Orleans. What happened to Spencer Rattler? They drafted him. I feel like he played one game maybe, but when other analysts, when people who know football, when insiders talk New Orleans football, they're like, well, they've got Derek Carr, and they might go out and draft another quarterback. I'm just so confused. Like, what happened to this guy? Where did he go? I don't know. Maybe he's like another Trey Lance kind of quarterback, like going to be selling real estate in a few years. I don't know.
I think what it is I don't think the head coach last year liked Spencer. I think that's what it was.
I'm really interested to know.
But what I'm saying is the same thing as Kellen Moore. Like you said, he came into the league. He was the winningest quarterback in college history because you're talking about numbers. And Kellen Moore didn't become anything in the NFL until he flaked out and became a head coach. So just because Shador's got the IQ and he's got the 70% passes doesn't do anything, because how many quarterbacks have you grown up watching who are phenomenal in college football and they get to the NFL and they're just not good?
Listen, the whole quarterback thing is really tough to say. I feel like I don't even have to watch him play. When Arch Manning gets drafted, I just know he's going to be a Super Bowl champion one day. So that's like my ultimate goal. But I really like Cam Ward.
Peyton and Eli teaching you how to be a quarterback, that's kind of different. That's a third generation of a quarterback.
So here's an interesting one, because I saw Keegan had brought up Kenny Pickett. He said he's underrated. Now, and he definitely needs he needs more receivers. He's got two guys there. He's got Judy and Njoku. But he needs another receiver, no question. Kenny Pickett, a lot of people don't realize this, but he came out of the Steelers with the winning record. He was 15-10 at his time as a Steeler. So it's not like the guy was like a sub 500 quarterback.
But he came from a team that wasn't a sub 500 team either.
Yeah. And then he was the backup for the Eagles. So he's a Super Bowl champion, right? And it's better than Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson is just out there living his best life. The guy just got engaged. I don't know how. I'm completely mind blown by that. But, it's going to be interesting to see where these last few quarterbacks land. It's definitely going to be interesting for me. I think that the Steelers made a huge move in getting DK Metcalf, but they do still need to put a quarterback in there. And it doesn't seem like they want Russell Wilson, because if they did, why wouldn't they have just signed him?
Yeah.
Russell has made
the thing
it
I was going to say about the Steelers is, like, you had Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. In a season later, now they don't want Russell Wilson, and Justin Fields went over to the Jets.
Listen, I'm a Jets hater. I'm one of those New York Giants fans. Like, I can't cheer for the Jets. It just won't happen. I hate that we play in the same stadium. They will never be a team I like. That being said, the Jets have had an awesome offseason so far. Aaron Glenn reset the whole franchise. I love that the head coach. They have Breece Hall in the backfield, right? And then they went out and got Justin Fields. So they've got a run identity. Wilson and Fields played football together. I think there's another guy, too, from Ohio State. The name's not coming to me. But they're going to have three guys who played, championship level ball for Ohio State, were awesome together. All back together. And like I said, Breece Hall and Justin Fields in that backfield together is going to be exciting. So I'm actually really excited for the Jets. I see a better future for them right now than I do my Giants. Pretty sad to say, but it's true. And you know what? I'm actually glad, because he just brought up another interesting fact here. And this is I'm going to leave you guys with this thought of the night. Daniel Jones is an underrated backup, but here's what's funny, Keegan. He's not going to be the backup. He's going to outright beat Anthony Richardson out for quarterback one. I guarantee you, when this season starts, the starting quarterback under the helm for the Indianapolis Colts is going to be Daniel Jones. Mark my words. You guys will see. Anthony Richardson is not him. It's unfortunate, but it's reality. Listen, guys, it's that time of night. Got to put the daughter to bed. You guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you, everybody who tuned in to Vinny's Corner. And, of course, my boy Cove, because, I wouldn't be able to handle the MLB and NHL stuff without him, to be quite frank. So, guys, tap in. You can see my socials below, and feel free to tap in next week, same time. Actually, you know what? Hold on. Before I jump off, I just want to say, next week, I may be postponing my show. So I'm going to let you guys know, but I may be doing a guest spot again for a podcast. So we'll see what happens. I love my own, but I also love to jump on and help other guys out too. But either way, you will catch Vinny next week talking sports, and I'm sure you'll catch Cove. If you guys don't know already, check out Cove, Grandpa Cove on, is it Cove, Grandpa or Tailgate now?
No, it's Cove Blue.
Cove Blue, okay, on X, because he actually runs a Discord for baseball specifically. I mean, we got all sports in there, but it's mainly baseball. That's kind of the focus. So if you're into Discord and you want to check it out, definitely make sure you tap in with my boy Cove. And guys, as always, peace, have a safe night, and thanks for tuning in to Vinny's Corner.